Hi and welcome back to Awake Athlete. I am Kajsa Kalén and today we're going to talk about self-worth and how that is a root cause to performance anxiety. A few years ago, I was suffering from a lot of performance anxiety that had a huge negative impact on my mental health, but also on my sports performances. Today, I feel much more secure in myself and my mental health and well-being is so much better. When I started to go within and reflect on why I felt so broken every time I didn't perform the way I wanted, I realized that I had been putting all of my identity as a person into my performances. That my worth as a person was based on athletic success. This was most obvious and visible in my sports, where I felt ashamed over myself when I didn't perform well. I thought that now everyone is looking at me thinking that I'm a big failure as a person. But today I know that that was only my thoughts and beliefs about myself that I was projecting onto everyone else around me. I stood on the runway seriously thinking that if I don't jump 10 centimeters better in the sandpit, I'm not only a bad long jumper, I'm a bad person. Do you think that I could perform my best then? No, I couldn't. I was acting out of fear. Sometimes I was seriously terrified out there. And that is what performance anxiety is for me. It's not only when you're nervous about failing at something because you really want to succeed, because that kind of nervousness can be good and can help our performances. When we feel excited and pumped, and when we have that adrenaline in our bodies, because of course you need to think what you're doing is important and that you want to do your best and to succeed. It's when you bring out that competition level. I would say I have a competition monster that comes out on competition sometimes, especially in the last jumps. And I can feel the adrenaline pumping in my eyes. But that feeling doesn't come from fear of losing. It comes from a place where I feel like I know what I'm capable of and I'm gonna do it now. Do you see the difference? Performance anxiety is not only that kind of nervousness. It's when you're scared to fail because if you fail, you feel like you're losing your entire dignity, your entire worth as a person. It's when you're not only competing for medals, you're putting your whole being at risk. It's when you feel like you're a bad person if you lose, and that you're a good person if you win. And many times you have such high pressure on yourself that even if you win, you feel like you're losing. Even if other people think that what you do is very good, you feel like it's not good enough. Nothing is really good enough. That's the difference for me now and then. In the past, when I was competing, I felt like I had everything to lose. And if I did good, it was more a feeling of relief than a happy moment where I felt like, oh, phew, I'm still worthy. I'm still a good person. For now. Today, I'm coming more from a place where I feel like I have everything to win. I am not gambling with my identity or my worth out there anymore, because our identity has nothing to do with our performances. Sometimes when I don't perform the way I want to, I can be sad and frustrated. Of course, that's just normal, because you put a lot of energy and time in this, and you know what you're capable of doing. But the difference now is that it doesn't feel like my whole world is falling apart when that happens. And I don't take this feeling with me for days, where I feel like I can't enjoy anything else in life. Because when we look at it, should running, for example, as fast as you can on a track, or jumping in a sandpit, should that be what is defining us as people? No, it's not. And in the past, I especially wanted to be the best in my sport, but in everything else in life too. I remember one time when I got a B instead of an A as a grade in school, and I was lying on the floor crying my eyes off. Or when I was working in a restaurant and I wanted to be the best knowing the menu. So I took it home and I studied it late in the night, only so people then could say, wow, you're so good, you know the menu so good, you're amazing. Because only then I felt good enough. So I started to do a lot of inner work, a lot of self-love and self-compassion to realize that my worth as a person has nothing to do with what I do. My worth is based on who I am. That's two different things. reminding myself of that I am not my performances. Being a long jumper and doing a long jump is something that I do. It's not who I am. Because our worth as people are not based on performances or grades or looks or how much money we have in the bank account. We are worthy and good enough only for being here. So are all of us. We are defined by our intentions, how we treat other people, how we treat ourselves, how we show up and how we go towards our goals. If we have the courage to follow our hearts and to go after our dreams and our goals in life, we are not defined by if we reach them or not, but if we continue to go towards them, even if we face challenges and obstacles. That is what defines a person, in my opinion. And these challenges with our beliefs about our self-worth that is based on a low self-esteem, it's the same thing. That is coming true in performance anxiety can be hidden as long as we perform well, as long as life goes perfectly for us. I was talented from a very young age and I was very successful in my youth and junior years. But when I became a senior and didn't win all the time anymore, or when I didn't continue to do personal bests every season, that's when I started to struggle the most mentally. Because I always used to be Kaisa, the best in long jump. It was my identity. And that was who I said I was. I was Kaisa the long jumper, not only Kaisa. But now when I was not the best anymore, it was like my whole identity was taken away from me. And we can run our entire lives trying to hold this facade up, to try to chase our self-worth in performances or other things outside of ourselves. And as long as everything goes perfectly in life, we feel good enough. But that's not how life works, is it? Sometimes we win and sometimes we learn. That's just how life is. And if we feel like our self-worth is based on what we do, on other people's validation and opinions, on medals or results, our worth will always be at risk. No wonder one gets performance anxiety or burn oneself out because we always feel like we have to prove ourselves to be worthy, to be good enough. So to build our self-worth with things outside of ourselves is like taking a painkiller for a headache that we have because we're dehydrated. It takes away the pain for a while, but we're still dehydrated, and the headache will probably come back if you don't go and drink some water. Do you get it? This is why ending a track career is not gonna help the problem either, because the problem is not in the sports, it's not in long jump for me. It's not in the grades, it's within. And if we don't start to look within to address our self-beliefs, it's just gonna transform into performance anxiety about something else. Like I said, it was for me. I didn't only feel like this in sports. I felt like this about grades, about being the best friend, just whatever. So the only way to address our low self-esteem, that is about our self-worth as people, is to go within, to understand what beliefs we have about our self-worth and where that comes from. Normally from our childhood, from a very young age, where we've been taught that the only way you can be loved is through performing. And putting your worth in sports performances is only a symptom of that. Like with most things in life, we don't find the answers outside of ourselves. We find it here. I know too many athletes that end their career because of mental problems that come from their self-worth and performance anxiety. And in the past, I came to a point where I thought that this was the only way of doing it too, that that's the only way for me to feel good. But that is the reason why I wanted to show up here and share all this with you, and to show that there is other ways. It is possible to feel good about yourself and still have a professional, long sports career. And it is possible to build and to grow our self-esteem, to start to realize and feel that you are worthy simply for being here, simply for being you. You don't have to do anything more to prove that, Because when we really feel that, nothing can take that away. And when we feel that, we will be able to handle all the ups and downs that comes with a sports career without feeling that your entire person is always being at risk, or that you're not good enough if you don't perform well. Because your identity is not dependent on that. And in that way, we will start to do our sports and everything else in life from a place of power instead of fear. And that's the way where we can live a long, successful and healthy career, and also a long, healthy, successful life.